In this video we have to check hours of video material and pictures to make the interior right. Alright, so in the last video we have finished up the promenade deck and it looks very well, so we can now continue with the inner walls of the B deck. And that's a lot of walls we have to assemble. But the walls or the parts from the kit are not fit the original. And first of all, we are going over to paint those walls, and some of these walls have to be white on the outside, like the stern wall and also the other walls. And this is the wall of the stern, and the outside has to be white and the inside has to be stained. And I also had to extend it a little bit, and those extension I do now treat with some Mr. Surfacer, so that it's a very flat surface like also those other walls. So after we putting the Mr. Surface on it, we can sand this all down with a 320 grit sandpaper, and that looks already really nice and flat. But we cannot paint them yet because there are some locator pins from the inner walls which interacts with the outer walls. And so first we have to install all the inner walls which are connected with the outer walls, like there on the stern. There are 2 pins, and there we need some Tamiya basic putty to put on it and then sand it down. And also there on the midsection, there's also a smaller promenade deck, and there are also some locator pins we have to attend. So with that done, we can go over and sand this all down, even with also with a 320 grit sandpaper to make this all smooth. And that's the look after we have sanded it all down. So now we can stain the inside, and we're doing this with the AK Interactive wood filler, like we have used also for the other walls. And we have to be a little bit careful that it will not run out to the outside, because then the white color will mix with those with the stain of the inner walls, and we don't want this. But we were very careful, and it looks very nice. So the next step we can have to do is to tape this all, and then paint all those walls which we are treated with Mr. Surfacer with titanium white. I ended up in using a rattle can. I was too lazy to use my airbrush, and that is a little bit quicker. Downside is now we have some built-up colors on the window frames, which we have to scrape down after we removed all the tape and the paper we used for masking these parts. But in the end, it looks all right. And so we can now continue with the rest of the inner walls, which are mostly stained. And we start there at the staircase. But there we encounter already the first problem, because there is a door in this wall. It's part number 6. It is already indicated in the instructions, and we also can see it clearly on the picture I made from the video, but there is no door in the wall, so we have to cut one in this part. And there's also another thing, there is a window there, which is also not in the instructions, but clearly been seen on the video. And for that, I know why they didn't do it, because that's basically a maintenance hole for all the wires and all like this. And the original, this staircase is open, and on the model it's closed. So I used the template from the acrylic windows, but ended up to make make this window a little bit bigger as before. So here we can see the cutout door and also the cutout window, which I said is bigger than the acrylic sheet I used as a template. But I think it looks very close to the original, and also the size is correct. So now we can assemble the rest of the wall, glue them all together, and that looks like this. And as said before, the staircase is open in the original, but here it's closed because I think it's intended to be to fit all the wires through it. And that's why they made this staircase closed. So now we can go further forward to the midsection and assemble all the parts which are so far are correct, except there are some little things. And there is another door which is not in the kit, and here we can see it on in the video. There's a door because I think they converted this ship after they put it in the museum. So they made this area a cafeteria counter. So they needed a way going to the kitchen, which is behind this wall. And we also have to make a counter, which was also not in the kit, surely. But that's very easy. We used some 1mm scrap board, and that was a really easy job. Some 4 walls and a cover, and then glue it in right in front there. I think that's okay. So that's after we assembled this and glued this all together, and now we can go forward to the main staircase and the galley, and also the first class diner, which is there right in front. And that's a lot more walls to assemble. Well, okay, so that's the staircases for going up and going down. And then the midsection, there's the dining, which there is also many more things to do. This main staircase is not so easy to assemble because it's angled, and my way was to assemble the stairs first and then fit it in the opening. I think that's much easier than to assemble the stairs inside of these walls. I think that's much more complicated than assemble them before and then fit it in. So now there are some 2 more stairways for the sea deck going up, and they have a back wall, and well, they are really easy to assemble. But one thing you keep in mind, the intended steps do not fit in the staircase at all. I didn't find any staircases where the intended steps fit. So you have to figure out which wooden strips you use for the stairs for lesser work to do. So those are the stairs, and then we stain them with Tamiya panel liner brown as the base color. But the edges of those steps has a silver or a gold edge, and in the first videos I taped this all, but that's way too much work. So I'm doing this freehand with a, what you call this, lining brush or hand line brush. I really don't know how it goes. It's not so accurate and maybe does not look well, but it goes way faster than taping this all. And in the end, who will take such a close look to these staircases? And those are the outer stairs with the railings. Those are the right railings. That's easy, and they will be fit there. So now we can go over and fit the rest of the inner walls, or not fit, we can paint the rest of the inner walls. And you can see here that those 2 walls has a yellow tone, and it's a very bright lemon yellow. Well, I didn't like the tone, so I based it a little bit down, which in my opinion fits much better to the stain of the rest of the walls, but it's yellow. And well, it's not so bright, but I think that looks much better than the color in the original. And that's the counter, and now we have to paint also the rest of the inner walls. There the walls are white, so I've used a very light gray white for those walls, and the same as for the galley, which is there on the back side. And also on the next section we can see that there are some sections, segments are stained, and the rest is painted white. So you have to be very careful. Here we can see a color of this kitchen. So you can see that the kitchen is inside white. So this wall in the main dining is also different, because you can see that there is a cabinet door and some bulwarks or portholes or whatever you want to call, or lamps. I really don't know. So I imitated this with 1mm plywood, made these doors, and I found some rivets which fits. Unfortunately, the connection between the outer parts broke, because that's a very thin connection, and well, it can be glued together. So here's the last wall, and that was very complicated. If you look very closely, you see that there are some curtains which wrap the walls, and also the walls are angled in 3 segments and in a zigzag shape. So I made this with the base with a 1mm styrene plastic, and then put some half round 2mm wide styrene strips on top, and that I think imitates well the curtains which are there on this wall. So for painting this, you see that there is a purple brown color in the original, so I made a base paint of purple, and then covered it with a reddish brown from AK Interactive, and I think it looks very close to the original. Alright, so we all now can think that we are very close to the end of finishing the inner walls for the B deck, but the truth is we are very far away from it, because also my patron reminds me that there are so many modifications to make it closer to the original, which is in the museum, because he visited this ship and he gave me some information about it. One thing as a sample is the first class dining, which is there in front, and there's a picture of the video I found on YouTube, and you can see that there is a 2-tone interior, but for that I also have to paint the inner walls of the bulwarks, and the same as here in this dining and also here, except here, because those are open decks. You see that there are still so many things to do which does not fit in this video. So up to then, stay tuned and see you there.